Chrome.
And then hit Google Chrome. And then...
The left one.
Go to the left.
And then everything's good.
Everything's
Pop
good.
up any second now.
Should pop up any second now. And I'm live. Been a while. Been a minute. I got smaller. I was big on the screen. I was giant. And then I became a little box over in the corner. Got to get used to this for a minute. Nobody showed up. Well, that was it. It was good to see everybody. Glad I came back and did live. And there's no one here. But
the chat's on the right.
no.
Well, you say
Okay.
You're rusty.
Hello, I'm here. One person. I'm addressing one person. And
Yeah, someone said hello, Wayne.
I said that.
Oh.
Now what are you in a delay? Different time zone?
See, someone said hello, Wayne, Frank.
Okay.
Trevor.
Hello, Wayne, Frank, Trevor. Frank's not here. Frank's in the tub somewhere. Howdy. 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 Boy, howdy. I should have got a beer for this. It's too late. We're just waiting for some people to show up and pop in. Good afternoon. And get this. First time back live, so it's kind of odd. I mean, it's been a few months. Hello. Wow, alive. Yeah, now that we're out of all those episodes and all that stuff, there's a lot of guitars. Well, that's a lot of guitars. No, that's only half, not even half of the guitars. That's a few guitars. It's a handful. So, we'll start getting ready. I used to be a Fender fanatic myself. You must be good at playing or collecting. One of the two, right? You would hope so. That I would get better. Or maybe I just can't play very well. I just keep switching guitars thinking it's the guitar's fault. Hello, 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 Dallas. Spiral was indeed a hallucination. But it's still out there. It can't be really referred to as a hallucination because now it's permanently embedded out there. So here we are, 401. We're in wonderful Surprise, Arizona, outside of metropolitan Phoenix. It's 93 degrees. The barometer is 29.96 and falling. The winds are out of the southwest at 12 miles per hour. It's sunny and clear. We haven't, did we hit 100-degree day yet? Mm-hmm. We had one.
We had two.
Did we have two? Okay. We're staying in the mid to high 90s, so it's kind of nice. It's hot, but it's not terrible. Always good to see you. What do you have to say? Well, at least there's you, says that. Other people just go to the other side of the street and leave me alone. So anyways, we got through the 12 episodes. I want to thank everybody for watching those because that was kind of a lot of fun. Finally getting that out of the way, like having gone through all the COVID stuff and everything else. So we've kind of got to move on that. We've been continuing with the Chasing Legends, and we will do through that this summer with that as usual. I think we're in 3.5 years of Chasing Legends. That's 3.5 years of continuous every week content, and we've had, I don't know how long we've been doing between the episodes, the archives, and lives. 2 episodes a week. I think it's been at least 2 years. A couple of years we've been doing that close. So that's a lot of content. You'd think we were millionaires at this rate. So I'm always trying to catch up. I have Trevor over here on my, see if the fingers point the right direction. Because there's a delay in lapse, and I'm still not doing it in the camera. Now I am. Anyways, have Trevor over to my right. Think of your left. I don't know. Something like that. So if someone has something they're throwing out there and I don't catch it here on the screens, because as usual, the monitor I'm kind of looking at has the glare towards it a little bit. So it kind of like, so I could probably get up in here a little more and see it a little better, but it's so much easier for him just to kind of give me in and do the hellos and all this stuff instead of me just trying to read along and kind of waste time instead of just talking about stuff. So we did get through all the episodes, and there's stuff that we actually did film that we didn't use for those 12, and we haven't made the decision whether or not just to release them as like some sort of episodes through the summer, or save them for next year or next fall, because we'll start back up quicker than we did this last time probably. But we haven't decided completely what we're going to do with some of that footage. So there's some pretty cool stuff, and plenty of we're going to be doing this summer. Not so much in the mountains, but it's research, and there's going to be a lot of organizing and putting a lot of research material together, because stuff is built up and built up and built up, and there's more stuff coming in and I'm acquiring, and I got to kind of get all that stuff. Right now I'm in the midst of digitizing the Dawns of Arizona archives, just in slides and negatives alone. I think I've done over 3,000. So I have the entire, there was 15 office boxes of material I've been going through, and I'm trying to get all that stuff done and digitized, so saves a lot of room. And then of course a lot of the slides were in carousels and stuff, but I'm trying to get that done, minimize room for in the archives and make it more accessible. And then also, like, being digitized, it could be someone could put them there on the website. We'll be able to use some of the material. So yes, I can digitize photographs and slides and negatives, and we can do 8mm film, Super 8 film.
Stop playing with the keyboard.
Well, it's because this thing comes out and no,
You can hear
stop.
every time you touch it.
Well, it's okay. Everybody doesn't care that I'm playing with the keyboard. Anyhow, so that's one of the projects we're working on this summer. And then I got another one I'll talk about probably later this summer that's going to involve a lot of files and material and stuff that's pretty exciting. And then I'm working on a couple other little projects that is just more of data processing to try to digitize or make that publicly available. So that's a lot of that, and it's just time consuming, but I figured this year I was going to get ahead of some stuff. So again, I always put that out there. There's someone that has old stuff from the mountains, their dads, their grandfathers or something. They're looking to have quality digitation of it. We did the VHS. We actually can do beta, but we're doing the 8mm. We don't have the ability to do 10mm just yet, but hopefully in the future we'll be doing that. So the idea is to always get this stuff, archive it, make sure people have digital copies that they can have forever and share with their families easily, and then we're taking our stuff and making it readily available on the website. So, and people continue to visit the website.
You got two comments. Someone said thank you for all the hard work you and Trevor dedicated to the last season. I really enjoyed it.
Frank was there too, a little. And
then,
Tyler.
Yeah. And then someone said, I heard the old Wasp mine was sold.
The old Wasp mine was sold, yes. It has a new owner. That's all I will say about that. So, yes. And the new owner was surprised that everybody knew, because the news traveled fast. It's funny how that stuff happens. I don't even know if the ink was dry on the paper, and people were making sure that was getting around. So, but yes, Clayworth's Old Wasp Mine has changed hands. What we're hoping, and I don't think we'll do it this summer, we'll have to do it sometime. We want to do a video out there, kind of some of the history and stuff, and kind of get dirty into that too. So that would be a fun one to do out there. Clay's doing fine, as far as I know. I haven't talked to Clay for a while, but it's going into the summer heat and all, and it's best, he's done his time and everything, and it's the rare occasion, usually you just want to talk. It's good just to hear. I just like listening to him talk and asking random questions and stuff. But yeah, he's done enough. It's time. If he wants to retire and live quietly, that's fine. But we last saw him in March. Yeah, we saw Clay in March. Yeah. We went over and picked him up. When did we start running the episodes?
First week of March.
Okay, so it was during that time. Yeah, we went over. It was me and Shoes. We picked Clay up and brought him over and had dinner, and then took him home. So it was good to see him and get him in, make sure he was good and safe, get him out of the house. But yeah, that was the last time I saw Clay. So, but he was doing pretty good and all. It was really nice spending time with him. Dr. Thomas Glover was also there, and there's a number of different people we got to sit there with. Keith Ferlin, Steve Bowser was there, I think. Yes, Greg Davis, Bob Shoes, of course, the entire Feldman group. A flock of Feldmans. That's what I'll refer to them now as. I don't know, was Josh there? Yeah, Josh was there, wasn't he? Jesse was, Ron, yeah, Jane were. I can't. Yeah, it's always hard to remember back like that. So much going on. Okay, so we're going through. I'm kind of going down this because people weren't asking. You think everybody has so much to ask and say because it's been months. It should have been this Bob, but it was another.
So I know who it is that bought the Lost Mine, and so it should have been this Bob, but it was another Bob.
So, yeah, things like that get expensive and so forth, and yeah, I don't need to spend that kind of money. So anyhow, we will leave the new owner's name in peace and his selling price and everything else and speculation to that. Anyhow, so it was really good because I got to see everybody in March, and then we did with all the other stuff. Haven't really, outside of every week talking to Frank, been talking to Woody off and on too, because Woody's been calling up and we've been talking. But it's been kind of the summer heat coming in, and Frank just calls to tell me, you're an idiot. Why would you go down to that thing? You're an idiot. You're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna die. What? Yeah. Blah, blah. Okay, so, but no, good conversations, Frank and I. Just had another good one the other day. I can't remember what we were talking about. But anyways, so a lot of good times. It's just the summer heat's coming in and kind of like reconciling what we'll do this summer and so forth. So, but there's always plenty to do. I'll be out at the museum next week briefly. And, just kind of, I'm trying to do what we're always supposed to do when it's hot and stuff for one time, is get all this other stuff out of the way. Speaking of stuff out of the way, Trevor's documentary film Sunsets, which was completed and finished, and it was entered into film festivals and everything that went on and transpired with it. We also wanted to kind of make some changes. Trevor, I think, has the digital graphics done for the boxes, correct? And we wanted to basically re-record the music. When we did the music originally, when it was his Capstone Honors project, and first did the film, we did the music kind of more off the cuff to give him some interludes in the music. I think we were both unhappy with the quality of recording and because of how well the film came off. And I thought of the one thing that I can do professionally, we really kind of like half-assed it. So we wanted to go back in and work that out. So that should be whenever we get the musical done. Then it wouldn't take you too long after that to start processing and start having that finish up. And then on to whatever else Trevor is doing, because there's other projects and other things he has to do. So it's just not all about me. He just, he would like to do something besides just film me. Favorite subject. At least that's his most. So Woody's doing good.
Did you?
Question: when I went down the pit, there is no tunnel, as you saw. Why did they start a tunnel? Well, and that's the thing, is I've tried to really understand is where that adit is. Did it really follow through? And that's a question Frank and I have been scratching our heads over. Did that adit really have a tunnel that rode through there, or did it have something collapse that was more a prospect and they guesstimated there was a tunnel through there? We still don't know. It's going to require some unimaginative doings possibly in the future to determine any of that. And we have some ideas of how to do that. And so that's what we're kind of thinking of, is trying to put some forks in some different things concerning that. It got very silent. There was a lot of people that had experiences and were involved with the spiral staircase pit. And I was hearing a lot of feedback. And then everything went absolutely deathly quiet once I went down in, which was kind of funny when I went, there's nothing here. Here's some pictures. Oh, the first time that happened. And then everybody quit talking to me about it and volunteering information. So that told me maybe something. So we got some ideas of what we want to do. I don't know what we can do too far with it, but it would be interesting to see if we can put any forks in some of the other things now. It was going well. We thought, wow, this is going to be quite the trip. This is going to be the serious going down the rabbit hole. And then you get there and it was like, bang, oh wow, there's nothing there. And I was very, very angry. I'm riding home. I got out of there. I was mad. Not just losing the cigarettes, which made me mad. But going home, yes, a couple people heard it on the telephone from me. I was pretty exasperated because I was thinking, man, it's hot, and I put my ass down, there was nothing there. And that was so disappointing building up to the moment that there wasn't jack. And because I was thinking, okay, we'll get down there, and I had the tripod, I had the equipment, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to set this up and film me, and then the opening, and I told Trevor, I said, because there's just two of us, I don't know how far I will go, but I want to get at least the opening and the tunnel and check some of the stability and get some photographs. And I had kind of the design in my head, and then just to go there and go like, oh, there's nothing there. The only direction I could see it going was when I dropped in was behind me, which was going west, which would make no sense that it went there and then completely dog-legged left to the left and went west suddenly. So I don't know. I really don't know. And, there's that certain point that I'm trying to read as I talk. Not used to this so much. But there's that certain point where you get to something and you're just like, I don't know what I want to do. Because you've had your head and everything so set on something, and then going, well, we'll get to this point and then we'll be doing this, and then let's see how far we can get next and how we're going to approach this. And how much gear and what do we need, because I was already kind of had a second person involved that would go down with me, so there'd be two people operating cameras working together once I kind of understood, because I wanted the lay of the land and understand things before the second person would come in. It was definitely, kind of thinking, okay, this is what we'll be doing, and then it was like, oh, well, all that changes. So now we're back to a whole, so being the skeptic, sometimes it's unfortunate when you're the skeptic and you just kind of like everything goes flat. You just kind of feel like, okay, yeah, that's exactly how this stuff usually works out. That sucks because I was hoping for something much better. It would have been cool to come out of there with a gold bar. Gold bar. I got a gold bar. The delay on this is crazy. Has the delay been this bad every time? It's just, I'm still waiting. There I am finally with the gold bar.
Did you see the comment, I really enjoy your style, the way you tell the story, and your sense of humor. Thank you for the work and the whole crew puts into this endeavor?
You and 3 other people in the world. Everybody else tells me, what the hell, dude? Shut up. No, I just recently was told, it was a very nice compliment. Trevor and I just talked about it last night. I'm a producer from a production company, but that works with history and A&E, was very complimentary on stuff. I told them that's all on Trevor. Trevor pretty much handles all the distribution, the cinematography, the editing, all the technical end and everything. I just am like a puppet. I am really just kind of a puppet in all this. I'm a knowledgeable puppet, but a puppet. And they were like, no, you have such a, well, da, da, da. It was really, and they were like, A&E and history has wonderful things to say. It was nice for the first time in 8-9 years, first time ever, to have that people say something very nice and get that feedback of like, oh yeah, no, we really, really like the way you tell a story, the way, you interact in a conversation and so forth. So that was really nice to hear, because you always think, okay, do people really care? And then I see other people do podcasts and different lives and stuff. And I go, I need to do it more like that, because these people got 1 million people watching. And they need to, maybe I'm just too laid back, or my sense of humor doesn't come across and all. But when people do enjoy it, I go, okay, well, I'd rather do it my way for a happy 5 people than several million, I guess. I don't know.
Did you see How About a Chasing Legend on Superstition, Place Names, and History?
We did one on that, didn't we?
I don't remember.
I think we did one on the mountains, the different names like Squateat and Becoming Coffee Flat, Black Mountain, Charlie Boy. I think we did one on that. I think it might have been called Place Names and the Superstitions. It was a Chasing Legends. We'll have to look for that and see. If not, we'd get to that. But I thought we did one where we talked about that kind of stuff. because I think someone suggested before. There's so many of them now. There was 170 some odd of the Chasing Legends, and that evolved from the live, which there was 100 and some of those before that, where we were doing these kind of discussions. So you're talking content between the lives, the Chasing Legends, and all this stuff. And now that we do live separate from Chasing Legends, you're talking a few hundred times we've run through different information. So sometimes we do cover a topic and people miss it. And it becomes difficult to find them because we like to come up with cool names for our stuff, you know. So it just doesn't say place names of the Superstition Mountains, you know. So there you go. All right, so
with the price of Les Paul's Strats and Marshall half stack in the background, I'm thinking he found the Dutchman and just isn't telling anyone, haha, awesome collection you have there.
Sure.
Did you find it?
Sure. If they were vintage 59s and 57, 58, and 59s, yeah, that would be a telling sign, wouldn't it? The one thing I do tell people is if you find it, don't tell anybody you found it. Because one, it's going to just suck as far as the tourism. Nobody's going to really care. Nobody's going to believe you. If someone does believe you, it would be the federal government or the IRS. Why get them involved? So, television, what are you going to make off that? You're not going to own the program. Some production company's going to have it. They're going to pay you. Well, I would make some money off you if we're doing it because they're going to have me come in and discuss or commentate on it. But, no, for the most part, you know, what are you going to make your money? It's a niche area. If you say you found it, I mean, if the Associated Press in 1950s, 1960s would have read a front page story on it. I don't think it's there anymore. I don't think it matters. There's people claiming to have found it and all these things that they've been doing for years. They've written books about finding it. They all have their blurry pictures. But people have been putting that stuff out there for the last 20, 30 years easy, diligently. And I can't think of one television program or anything that got off the ground that they made any money off of. They released their own books. They probably end up with boxes of books in their garage. So the problem is, if you find it, the gold that you have is the gold that you get. And if you find it, just roll along. Tell the history of the mountains and be happy. Be happy. Get nice things. So, because if you have nice things, then you might be happier. Or at least, if nothing else, not nice things. Because you don't need... I mean, who wants a really big house and then fucking people walking around it and cleaning it and you're not sure what they're into and stuff, and now you gotta have camera and the whole thing gets ridiculous. So just live very comfortably. So when you want steak, you can just go out and have steak. And you don't have to worry about the price of gas or anything like that. That's what you want to do. You want to live comfortably, and if you find something like that you can live comfortably, that your children could as well. Now I'm playing with the keyboard again. See? So there. All right. So I found the Dutchman. Yep. Was that a statement or a question or a response there? Yeah, I don't know what that was. Okay, you should do the map of the Lost Dutchman's cigarettes. Well, everybody saw where they're at. I mean, they're going to be stale now. It's been a while. They're just sitting down there. At least it hasn't rained on them. The Lost Tuttle cigarettes. Yeah, and they should be left there. There's the Coors Light can and the cigarettes. So maybe, you know, the funny thing is Frank's still pissed off at it. He lost his knife there and no one's ever seen the knife. My cigarettes are there. There's a beer can there. Everything it's up piling up there, but his knife is gone. And that's what tells me that anybody that's been out there, it's like, I don't know, there's some pack rat probably grabbed his knife and took it down a hole. Because you would think someone would go, oh, that was Frank's knife, because they're paying attention to this stuff. Because I think I'm the only person that ever talks about the spiral and that pit and any of that. I don't think there's any, and most people aren't aware of it. If they're aware of it, they're watching me just simply because they want to know what's going on with me in the pit. Yeah, the lizardmen could have taken the knife too. Yes. I haven't seen any of those, so never seen one of those, never seen the pygmies, the three-legged men, or any of that stuff. So, yep, no Bigfoots, none of that crap. So anyhow, as we continue on going through. But yeah, it was disappointing. Don't know what we're going to exactly do, but Frank and I have talked about plans and subject matter. We did the video where I showed my climbing ropes and harnesses and everything, and so people understood that we do have the equipment. It's just that equipment's heavy, so you got to lug it all in, and so you have to have numbers. And I was at a point where I explained I was so tired of it, and Frank said he could tell the look in my eye the whole time that the video starts. This is not going to go well. Because I just kind of went, I'm so sick of going here. I mean, just like you guys go, oh, here they are again. I'm just walking. Oak Island goes nowhere. Oh, same crap. And I was kind of feeling the same. And I was like, shit, no. And I think Trevor was a little taken aback. I think he was kind of like, what? It's just the two of us and you're going to do what? And I went. And yeah, didn't come out the way we wanted, but it was cool. I wish, and you never think about this stuff. The one thing I have to give us, it sucks that we do things very raw and in the spur of the moment, and it's very real. The other problem is we don't prepare for all the incidents that happen. So if we would have had a camera that we could have tied in remotely and just filmed kind of what was going on, and you could have had a third or fourth camera sitting there, we would have thought of that. But instead, Trevor has one camera. I pack everything else because I think I'm going to need it. So what happens is now Trevor becomes the guy who's belaying, and I need him to be listening to me and very much in control and watching what's going on with me, because he's my eyes above ground, what's going on, and he's my eyes going as above me and telling me what's happening above my head. So it kind of sucks because then suddenly it's like he's sitting there and going, I want to start filming, and I can tell he's getting ready to go film, and I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're going to stay right on that freaking rope. So, I'll be your pack mule. That's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of stuff, man. We hauled a lot in. I can't imagine hauling in that rope. God, what's a rope weigh? Rope's got to weigh close to 25, 30 pounds. I mean, we don't need that. I'm not cutting my rope, though. I'm bringing the whole stretch. But, yeah, there's a lot of rope there. Harness isn't bad. I guess I could wear the harness in. That would look weird, people walking by. But, yeah, so the idea is kind of making a plan and understanding what we want to do and kind of do something more permanent for everybody. Now that everybody got that, it wasn't meant to be as a teaser, like I said, but now that we got that far, is like, what do we do next? Or do we just say, it's not even worth it? And Frank and I have discussed both sides of that coin, so... And then there's other things we've wanted to do. We just got done talking about some unfinished things at Fish Creek that really were going our way, and then all that happened. And we feel this weird, I'm trying to think of what it is, just like bad luck follows us of, we kind of get things resolved, and then we just can't finish the footage, can't finish things, and we're like, man, that was going to be so cool what we were going to be able to do. And I even told Frank, I mean, maybe we need to do it this way or that way. Get some of that stuff done. So that's that. Don't always know what's in the future. But like I said, we hit a couple sites on the side in between because we don't make every trip the same. And the other side trips and other stuff we did film. And so we have that footage and material of what we did. And we haven't decided what to do with all that. It could just be additional stuff. We haven't decided, will we, once we get deep into it, if it is the spiral, do we kind of step back and say, okay, we got enough material to kind of tell this story for 12 weeks? Because that's usually, what are they, about an hour? Just under an hour, right? So there's going to be 10, 11 hours of edited footage. So do we have enough to do that? Or do we incorporate various different things? Or how do we want to do everything in the future? So that's always a thing we think about too, because ever since the COVID era and we had to suddenly back out and change how we did things and approach things, now we see is like, okay, well, it's in the world of the media and being able to release things and stream things, we can do things in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be 12 episodes. It's nice. What we started is staying with it. You do like that consistency, but I even told Trevor, what if we just film and we have 2 or 3 hours of something and quarterly we release that, kind of in bulk, and we break it into 2 or 3 parts and we go with that. What do we want to do? So you always got that. So I know it might be pricey, but have you thought of, what is that? LiDAR the ground. Okay, well, if I go in and take the LiDAR in, can't fly a drone in there. That's a no-no. And if we take LiDAR and see, you have to understand, we could do things, but then if we put it, let's say I went out there, we did LiDAR, and we did ground penetrating radar, and we did a bunch of other really cool stuff, and I put a video up on it, and it's in the wilderness area where there's none of that stuff allowed, and I post it, then I could be doing these from jail, so with a fine on my head. So I'm very cautious. I made sure sometimes when we do something, hey, we did this, and we're prospecting. Is there going to be a problem with that? Generally speaking, it's like, is this really breaking the rule where we could get in trouble? So I've always kind of not tried to push it, but kind of said, well, if we go out and have a metal detector, we were prospecting is allowed in the wilderness area. And it was something handheld, and it wasn't like, and we weren't digging holes everywhere or something, but we were looking, and part of the idea was, is that a problem? Because we also have film cameras and stuff and all. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, what if we brought LiDAR or this equipment or that? There's these different types, and there are different types of equipment for looking in the ground. And generally, I get stopped at that point. So Frank and I have discussed that, and I always try to give a little feeler with, make sure we're not breaking the rules to the point, because we're documenting it. And the last thing I want to do is film something of someone doing something or some company working with us, and then everybody's like, wow, that's great. Well, we're not really making any money off this, and now they're in jail. So that's how that works. I know it might be okay. You once told a story about when you were younger and a man allowed you and some friends the ruins of a structure in the hills, and you tried to get back but couldn't find it. Me and Trevor have been talking about going back out. I talked to Robert Cooper from Search and Rescue about it, and a couple other people. I really want to make that trip. I think this next fall or winter we will be doing something along that line. That's a little difficult trip, but yes, I want to go back out because it still nags me that I've never quite seen it again. I want to do a film, and it'll probably be like episode type stuff, but film something and then go as a side trip on that trip to go look for that, because I know generally where it is. I don't think I could find it from the backside climbing up, because after how long ago would this be? It's well into 35 years ago, 35 years ago. So good chance we're not going to find it looking like what we did, the hill, the little bit of a trail, which is what I think you're talking about. And so because of that, I want to approach it because I know kind of where we ran into it. So I kind of want to just follow a ridge line and run into it. And I want to go up there and check that out. So that is on our bucket list of things to do. There's several sites Trevor wants to see, but that's one I really want to do. And it involves several different things we can film and do on the way. So I did once tell a story. I once lived that story. Have you made anyone...
That's just asking
any more attempts to locate it? Yeah, okay. So yes, I really haven't since that time. We went out a couple times to look for it and didn't find it. But I get, and this is the thing, the satellite imagery and some of the stuff I use through the work I do is really good, and I can't locate it. Now the problem could be is it just blends in so well. You can be at a structure. There's plenty of structures in the mountains. I can sit there and hone in on it and literally can't see it. I know it's there, but I can't see it. There's several of these. I'm not going to give them up or what they exactly are, but there are some ruins. There are old partial buildings of things. And there's times you cannot see most of these structures, even though you know right where they're at. And I have stuff that's like, it's not this blurry stuff that a lot of people get in the Google Earth and that kind of stuff. And by the way, someday, I wish, if you've been in the Superstition Mountains and you use Google Earth and it's the 3D stuff, and as soon as you turn, look at Weaver's Needle on Google Earth. and then tell me how that's accurate, because it looks nothing like Weaver's Needle. Um, it's such a piece of garbage for the most part. You'd be better off of using 1990s satellite or aerial photos, because those actually can be much better. But what I have works really well, and I have not been able to find that site with that. So I just want to walk back through, know basically where we came up, where we were in my memory, and then I just want to work that ridge and see if I can find... I want to find where that entry point was, where it was almost like a doorway with the flat rocks and stuff. I think that would be the best thing to look for on the edge, if nothing else. So, have you... Okay, attempts... Some people get angry when you show them up, like going down the hole and that stuff. Yeah, well, you know what? I've dropped a couple slight F-bombs. I'm really trying to be nice, but you know what? You're not showing people up. I just do it. And the people that go out and pretend, because there's a lot of people that pretend crap. And, you know, there's some people here with us that are not pretenders, but they know what those people are like. I'm unusual that I'll put stuff out there for people to see. There are a lot of people that quietly don't want people to know what they're doing and stuff. They interact with me and so forth, and we'll share photographs and stories about areas we're working in. But it's never me trying to one-up someone or do anything. I figure you're at home, you can't do this, so you get a taste of what it's like and the excuses and the reasons why things can be so difficult. And it gives you a nice dose of reality, what it is like for people and so forth. Most of the people that hate on you for that stuff are they're weak. It is what it is. You get out there with those kind of people. I've been out with so many people that just nothing happened. It was just a bunch of guys that could have stayed at home in the living room and sat on the couch and watched a football game, and we would have had a much better time than just standing around bullshitting doing nothing. And that's kind of why I do what I do by myself a lot of times, and a lot of how things occurs, because most people get kind of in the moment of like, I don't know about that. I'm a kind of like, well, there's a time to put up and shut up. And it was time for me not just to put up, but to drop down. Can you say the general area that you believe the structure was? I think I talked about it in there. I'd have to say, I don't know if I was keeping it a secret. It was up on the ridgeline back. We climbed up through Barks Canyon. It was up in the gun sight view up on that side. We were down there at the draw, and we worked around. We ran into the guy down, crossing through Barks Draw, and then he took us up over and then told us where it was, and we ran into it. And I don't know exactly where we left the trail. It was... That's the reason I won't try to attempt it from that direction, because I can kind of visualize it, but I don't know how we started up, where he got us started at, and we hit things. And I know we lost the trail when we ended up in that thing. We had lost the trail. We were nowhere on the trail. It just kind of disappeared, and it was very steep, and we were doing a scramble at the end, I believe. And then we just kind of came over. We thought it was just sort of the rock ridge. And then we kind of like looking around and realized, what the hell's this? It's like, and it could be a lot of it natural, but then the opening, which faced west, and it had, like stone, like, flat stone going through it. It was very much like someone tried to make it feel like a house or something. The walls weren't that tall, but we could, we were able to sit on them. But it was just very odd place, and then it was clean, and then there was a lot of grass inside there. But this is back when there was a lot more rain all the time, and I just remember we were all like sitting there having lunch and stuff and looking around going, this is amazing and stuff. Of course, when you're young like that and stuff like that, you don't take pictures, and there's very few pictures. The pictures I took as a kid, sometime we'll have to do an episode of pictures I took when I was 12, 13, 15 years old, and you will understand why we don't show those pictures, because they're ridiculous. All right, so did you ever go north, east of the pit in the Saguaro Cactus Clyde, Jack-o'-lantern, and all those bones laying around, 3 stone rock house foundation? There's a lot of ruins. I try, because of ruins, And what's problematic with people, I remember Garden Valley, Indian Springs, back when there was manos and metates and pottery everywhere and everything. And then once you point out certain aspects of things in areas, people have a tendency to walk off with them or damage them and do stupid things. So I'm very aware of a lot of ruins, and there's some burial areas up in there, and I have just really kind of stayed off that of directionally where a lot of stuff is in that area, because I just don't want to mess with it, that it gets messed up. I was talking to a couple other people about it, because there was 3 or 4 other people back in the day in the 80s and 90s that had been up in there and talked about it. And I told them I wasn't going to probably film any of that. Just simply, I didn't want anybody to mess with that stuff. So that's kind of where I am there. Were you and Randy right in Randy? Okay, there's a story for you. And yeah, Jesse's book's been out long enough. I can talk about this. When there's Jesse Feldman has the book talking about the Silver Chief, which people call the Pit Mine. It's the Silver Chief Mine. We all called it the Silver Chief Mine. Other people called it the Pit Mine. Not the spiral staircase, that pit. It's out by Rogers Trough, we'll just put it that way. And you can park out there, and there's a ridge you can walk, and it's pretty easy to get to. It's not really bad. It takes a while, a few steps to get there. And everybody had their stories about it. This is probably, I'm going to say, around 2004, 5, 6, something, all this. Everybody started talking. One of the gentlemen that was a big proponent about getting it out there has passed away. And there were several people that were, really kind of like, oh, you won't believe it, and all this. So I remember all that. I know Jack Carlson and Greg Davis were out there pre anything happening. They were out there sometime. I think Jack had been, I'm trying to remember when people had been out there in different periods. And I talked to them. I think someone had been out there in the early 90s, and it could be Jack Carlson. And then later, Greg Davis and Jack, I think, were out there in the mid-90s, 95, 96, 97. Supposedly, the activity there took place 98, 99, 2000, right in that area. So, but I know there was a couple times people were out there. So anyways, trying to explain, a lot of people had been out there and were aware of it. And there was a bunch of origination stories to do with it. And it was kind of odd to see photographs of it before the other people found it that were there. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. But you never know. So Randy went out, and I don't know if he went with Jack Sanfelice. See, this is why it's not good. Randy should be here, and Randy should say, hey, dude, yeah, I went out with Jack. I don't know if it was Dick Walp. I know Jack Sanfelice, Carlson, Steve Bowser, Greg Davis. There's a bunch of different people went out. And I don't know who Randy went with. It was probably one of the combinations of those people, I'm thinking. Randy went out, and I asked him, because I couldn't go out when he went with them. And I asked Randy, I said, so what's up with it? And Randy said, dude, they're talking about it, and they're showing me and talking about it, and we're getting closer, and I'm looking around, and I'm going, this is it. And he said, man, my adrenaline was going, and he said, I got more and more excited. I got there. It's like, holy shit, this could be a Lost Dutchman mine. And Randy said the longer he stood there, the less it was. And he said by the time they were leaving on the way back, he realized it was kind of like something real exciting, and you ignore a lot, and you start dropping things out to make it right. And he said, basically on the way out, he was like, I see why they say that, or why they want to believe that. And I kind of took it as like, okay, well, I'll have to go out there myself. So I went out by myself. And I went out because I wanted no one in my ear, no one pointing stuff out. I'd heard everybody talk about it. I'd seen all the pictures. I was very, very aware of it, and I went out. And the first thing I was like is, it's not a funneled pit. It's a vertical shaft. It goes down to a lower horizontal shaft. And the ladder was still there. It was still in decent condition at that point. It hadn't collapsed or anything. There was nothing problem. It's been a while since I've been there, so I don't know the condition it's in now. And once I went there, then I kind of knew some of the backstory, so I started talking to people who would have firsthand knowledge, and then inquiring certain things of different people, and everything was very different. And then I started getting multiple, kind of like the spiral, layered different stories from different people about different things, and then a lot of other people got involved. It got so convoluted, and I literally kind of found myself in the position of saying, like Randy, I see why someone could say, put a flag on this. I believe this could be the Lost Dutchman mine. My biggest problem, once I put any research on it, was since it was a known mine and it had a back history and a number of claims set on it, is how the hell was it possible that Jacob Waltz somehow never noticed that other people were working on that mine and didn't bring it up to Reinhardt and Julia, because he would have had to have been actively in and out of that mine during a period of time that mine was active and they were working on it. Not him, but other people were documented to be working on it. And he should have been very aware of a lot of this. And it doesn't appear he was. And that was the thing that kind of hit me. A lot of it you can piece together, and I can say, is it a gold mine? Yes, it's principally probably a silver mine that had gold in it. And it's in that area. The other thing was, everyone uses the, I'm trying to remember her name, and I'm not going to remember. There's a newspaper article with a woman, and Herman Petrash quoted it into it about talking about these mines. And he kind of specifically addresses the Silver Chief in an offhand way. They used half the quote. They don't use the entire quotes that he uses, because it's better that way. When Reinhardt's being asked about it, and the Silver Chief, he was one of the witnesses to the Silver Chief, so that makes it even more exciting. And this is kind of like, what's his name? Who's the guy who did the Da Vinci Code? Dan Brown, I think. Or what was the guy? Not the movie, the book. Yeah, the book. Anyways, it's kind of like that thing where it's not really the truth.
Dan Brown,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like 95% bullshit, because the name Knights Templar, they did exist. Everything he wants to say about them is for the most part ridiculous and not true. But people love that crap. It sells, right? So that's the point. They're making a movie. They're writing a book. The idea is to entertain you and have you buy it. The truth sometimes does not sell. So in that regard, I was looking at it as like, yeah, no, this matches up. Well, the quote from Herman, the back end of the quote is, but that's not where the Dutchman lies west of here. The 9 Peralta mines lie west of here. And that part is always excised, and people, and I'm like, okay, it is for who it is. Jesse's my friend, and he's put out his books concerning it. I own every one of his books concerning it. I own multiple copies. I own the hardbacks editions, and I have no problem with that, and I will always read them and support him and tell people, you know what? If this is what he believes, that's cool, and we can discuss it and whatnot. I'm not going to sit there and bash on him about it or think of this. If that's what he wants to, feel. I've been there. He wants me to get Frank out there so Frank can look at it, because Frank talks about it too, and I'm like, dude, you need to go there and go, it's not that bad. I mean, of all the people that have been out there, Frank's in pretty good shape to make it out there. It's a ridgeline walk. So anyhow, if you were going out there horses and trying to, clean out the mine and stuff, yeah, it'd be a lot of work and risky, because you could go to jail. But anyhow, that's kind of my thoughts on the Silver Chief. So the spiral is the spiral, and the staircase mine is the DeCook mine, and the pit is the Silver Chief mine, part of the Silver Chief operations there. It's very well documented. I really liked Jesse's last book, because it really, in the order discussing the history of the Silver Chief, he did a wonderful job. I would always say get the book. You can say, I don't believe what this guy's saying in that respect. It doesn't fit in pieces, and that's fine, and I think he'd accept it. I think he did a wonderful job on the chronology and some of the documentation concerning that mine, which always is good to have and good to hear, and there you go. So, there. I think I covered that pretty well, and somehow worked in Knights Templar. By the way, if you really want a cool book, and I don't know if these things always... Michael Haig, The Templars. This is the history and the myth. This is a really good book for people who have been watching too much History Channel, Discovery Channel, Channel Mole, Expedition Truth, and all kinds of Oak Island and stuff. That book will straighten you out a little bit and help put you on the right scent. That's been such, I had a long discussion with someone who's not actually here today. He usually joins in about some of the subject matter, because I'm always surprised at information that's available for 10, 15, 20 years in books. And people avoid that stuff. And then they go for the sensationalism stuff, like the pirate fleet of the Knights Templar. They love that book, which is printed cheaply, and the guy gets it out there, and people buy that book, but they don't buy these other books that are really, really good. And this book, the one thing I will say is, if you're not into nonfiction, but you want something that you can read, and this book's, 400 pages? It actually goes pretty quick. It's well written in a way that you'll be able to remember dates and be able to go back and reference. It does do a nice chronology, and it really does a nice job of laying things out. And he just tries to say, this is the documentation, this is what happened. And he tries not to get into that opinion speculation. He has a different typeset for opinion and speculation, and he doesn't do his. He talks about what other people's opinions and speculation is, the conspiracy theory stuff. And he separates it. So you get that part of it. But he explains, this is why some people think this. But it's excellent read. Good place to start. He has a great bibliography. And, some of the websites and stuff are now defunct. But really, really good book on that. So that's one of the books recently I went back through, prepping up for something else. The Rasputin File. Another good book, huh? Another big thing. They're all thick. They take time. I also have one on Tesla. I have Tesla's autobiography in the truck, and I've been going through it page at a time. It's taken forever because I always have these other books laying around, and I'm tossing and turning between different books reading them. I know Jack Sanfelice is supposed to be re-releasing... What was Jack's last book? The Lost El Dorado. I think he's rewriting that. I think it'll be back out. It's down here on the bottom shelf. But I think he's working on that, or that's coming out. Always Ron Feldman's The Lost Dutchman Mine book. Kind of an autobiography, but talks about the pit mine, the Silver Chief, a bit on that, but it's kind of nice, the reminiscing of him. Mick McPherson put a couple books out about his time in the mountains, which are kind of first-person accounts of trips and journeys he made. They're not like Lost Dutchman storybooks, but stories about their time in the mountains. Jesse did his, which is Jacob's Trail and the Dutchman's Trail. One's the older one, one's a newer one. And they're literally almost two different books when you read them. And if you can find the older book, pick it up, read it, and then read the newer book. I think the newer book he did a really excellent job on. I've only heard one or two people say that they thought the first book was better. So we're kind of getting through that. How hard is it to find the trail, the east that leads to the top? Oh, you're talking about the Ely Anderson? The Ely Anderson Trail. I think that's what you're referring to. It's not bad. There's some cactuses. Get Jack Carlson's hiking guide, the first one it talks. But there'll be a rock slide area. There's the camping area where the trees are, where everybody kind of camps. Kind of central to the mountain there before you start heading up Needle Canyon. As you go by that, and you're kind of starting to head west and then turn northwest and then north on the trail going up through Needle Canyon, you'll see there's an area that's like a rock slide. And there's some saguaro cactuses there still. And just work your way there up into that, and you'll find some cairns here and there. Kind of move up north into that slide area, and then kind of bear to your right, because it kind of ends up going to the right. You'll kind of go up that way. And there's a lot of loose rock and stuff, but there's usually some cairns every 30, 40 yards. And it's not too bad. And then once you hit after about a third, you'll hit the actual trail. And you'll know it. You'll just kind of it's like you're following the cairn, and then you go by these boulders, and you're going, oh, okay, I'll get up here. And then you just suddenly realize there's a trail. It's in the bedrock, and it's clear and good from there on. You'll be overlooking a little canyon to the northeast when you hit that. But it's not hard. I mean, if you just start heading up, you'll hit it. And then once you're, like I said, the first third, once you get up into that one section, it's good to go from there. So just take your time, be careful. It's not... I know Tom Cullenborn used to ride a horse up that. That would be shaky. I wouldn't want to be on the back of a horse going up that, because there's a lot of moving rock. It's a difficult place to climb up. So there you go. Thank you. No problem. Yeah, and enjoy that. You know, it's a cool trip. My favorite part of that is whenever someone's never been up that trail is when they break the top and go between the old sheep walls, and you hit that top and you realize that it's just like flat. I mean, literally flat. And if it's been raining and stuff, there's grass. And the grass and the water up there can hold into the ground. So you'll be walking on this spongy, wet grass and ground across the top, just looking everywhere. And it goes to the ridge that drops down into Bluff Springs Canyon off to your east. But when you get up there, I remember Randy Wright the first time he hit it, and he got up there. And I got up ahead of him and turned around and looked at him. And just him looking around like... because you don't expect it to be that flat and open and just like level. And I mean, you can just start walking across. It's just amazing how smooth and soft the ground is up there for just a certain distance. But no, it's a great area. It kind of stays that way relatively. It doesn't get too rough on the top, on the western side of Bluff Springs Canyon, till you got to climb the hill for the main peak, where there's a little box you can sign your name. I don't know if I've ever signed my name in that box. I'd have to literally climb up there and look in the box to see if my name's in the box. And I don't know if it's the same books. I'm sure guys take those books out. I don't know. Trevor's not paying attention. I don't know how that stuff works. I found that cash box and whatever it's supposed to be, geocache. And I'm like, well, why is there ping pong balls? What am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to take a ping pong ball? Am I supposed to draw a face on it? What am I supposed to... I don't understand this. So there you go. I don't understand that kind of crap. I don't care to. I just go out and do my thing, and then sometimes you find something interesting or weird. I don't know if I've ever... How's Woody doing? Someone asked before. Woody's doing fine. He's doing good. He was talking to me. Hey, bud. How's it going, bud? Hey, guy. So Woody was doing just fine. So he wanted to come down and make a trip. I was trying to tell him, man, you waited till it was hot to come down here. But if he does make the trip for what he wants to do, we will be out with him and filming, because I'm interested in hell of what he's going to do or what he's going to attempt. But the trip I made, there was a place down in Maricopa, and I went up this hill, and it was real rugged, and I was out there with the rifle. I was probably 12, 13 years old. And I went up this hill. We called it twin. It wasn't buttes, but it was like the twin caps on it. And so I went up this kind of smaller mountain. I was walking across, and I remember sitting there with the rifle. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to walk all the way back to the cabin we had across. And I was just sitting there looking around, and, the wind. And I could see a couple deer going down the washes. Amazing. And then I looked down, and there was a baseball bat sitting up next to this rock. It was like a children's bat, too, the kind you might use for a club or something. But it was small. I still have it. Trevor's seen it. It's out in the garage. Or actually, it's in a shed in a bucket. But I found that wooden bat. I was like, of all the crap to find, this stupid wooden bat. Someone hauled that thing up there for no apparent purpose I could understand. Baseball bat, and left it up there, and it was dried out, and it'd been up there for a long time. It was in rough condition, but I hauled it all the way down, just like, who would be running around up here in the middle of nowhere on top of a mountain with a baseball bat? For what purpose? So it wasn't aluminum, it was a wooden bat. So, but yeah, I found that, and I took that home. So I found that. So you never know what you're gonna see. It's kind of crazy and stuff in there, different areas and what's going on. Where are we at? We're at 4:57. We're almost an hour in, so it's probably getting close to time to wrap up. Wow, we got 143 views, but there's only 47 people stuck with me, because you know what happened to everybody else? They went to sleep. They went nighty-night. Do you know if Charles Whitlow was ever involved in any searches? Well, the Whitlows, as far as any searches for anybody missing in the mountains, I'm sure, because one of the things would be any of the ranching families that would have been in the area if someone went missing. Uh-oh, I can smell dinner. I smell dinner cooking. Now we're in trouble, but I'm still here. But the Whitlows would have participated, just like the Barclays, anybody that had any ranching interests in the area, especially it was in their specific area. of not just interest to them in Dutch hunting or anything else, but because of their cattle and stuff. So a lot of them participated and would work together and stuff, or lone cowboys, because they ride the fences and knew the area generally pretty well. So you can always look at the good reference points for that would be, I would look in Jack Carlson's Superstition Trails East and West books, because he put a lot of ranching information. If you want the ranching kind of information for that, that would be the go-to book right now. I know Tom Collenborn worked on one about the cowboys and ranches, and it would have probably been the preeminent, just the beginning, the alpha omega of that. And Tom never finished it. I think he just quit writing it, and that's a shame, because Tom worked as a cowhand, knew these families, knew the families that knew the families, and he had a lot of insight for a lot of these people and a lot of the history. But Jack Carlson befriended a lot of these families, and Jack had an amazing amount of information, and I believe Trails East, that is a huge amount of it is about the ranches and the ranching families and so forth. So look at that, and the index will probably help you out on that and get you started. Greg Davis is always another resource, because I'm sure there's Whitlow family files and photographs and all kind of archival material and stuff like that. All right, good to have you back on the live. I sure most treasure that was back in the old days were by accident. There's always something to find somewhere. Is it still Pizza Fridays? It hasn't been forever, and today is the first Pizza Friday in what? Probably 4 or 5 months? We had pizza maybe one Friday since the new year. But since the new year, there's been a lot of fish, salads, a lot of stuff like that. The younger siblings that demand certain food weren't here, and Trevor and I ate healthier, which was by choice. So it was a little healthier eating and stuff, and less crap around the house, since the teenagers weren't here. And it good thing to do anyways. But we didn't do pizza nights. They did pizza all the time, but I think we got pizza once or twice. But it was not, and it might have been on like a Thursday, just kind of out of the blue. So maybe that's a good thing about doing lives, as we go back to Pizza Fridays, because I do smell it tonight. And what I'm smelling is the oregano. Can really kind of catch the oregano going through the air and the garlic. Was there any time that you got comments on YouTube from someone stealing a secretive clue, that following on that clue and found anything you didn't know before? So you're saying something that I kind of talked about, they were able to take that and then go out and found something that I was unaware of?
Someone left a clue on YouTube, and then you
is that what it is?
the clue, and then you went and looked at that and found something maybe that you didn't. Not YouTube. We found stuff in books, stuff that's been circulated for years, and me and Frank worked on stuff and kind of got some stuff worked out. And we showed some of that, and some of the stuff that I did find down in Fish Creek because of that. But no, I don't think YouTube, the odd thing is, like I said, and this is nothing against all the people, because it's entertainment. And if I watch a ton of YouTube stuff and video. I watch a lot of crap on YouTube. I watch guys doing stupid shit all the time because it's fun for me. And I'm just like, and it's no threat to me. I don't have a problem with it. I find it kind of funny. Sometimes it's sad, but because I really do feel bad when a guy does a video, and I'm sure you've seen it, where he does a video, and he actually does a pretty cool video, and he's kind of like does it, and the editing's bad and stuff, but it's, hey, good for you, and he has like 11 subscribers, and he gets 7 views. And I'll watch the video 3-4 times because I want him to have more views, because I know what it feels like, and I was very fortunate to get kind of a nice, honest push. I didn't have to buy bots. I didn't have to buy subscribers. This naturally grew exactly the way you're supposed to do it, which is how it's supposed to happen, which is if you look through at recommended stuff and you watch the recommended rankings, we're very high on this type of thing compared to a lot of places that get a lot more views and a lot more, you see, they got 1 million subscribers. The reason we're higher is it's completely dead honest. I'm not going to put a penny into this. I'll put a penny into the cameras, but I'm not going to do any. I'm not paying anybody to market my YouTube. That seems ridiculous because all I'm doing is paying Peter to pay Paul. I'm going to end up like sitting there in the middle. Yeah, I don't need that kind of ego thing. You know, let's put it this way: 2 freaking million people watch me on History Channel. Somewhere between 35 to 40 million people worldwide have seen me on various programs on television, documentary films, and YouTube worldwide. I don't need to buy YouTube views. And if this thing blows up and it was super that's great. But then there would be the additional what I got to do to kind of cater to that audience. I like what we do. I don't know if Trevor does, but I like it. I kind of recognize a lot of people after a while. It never gets too big because if something gets too big, it gets very difficult. But I like what we do and we do it our way. So we don't have any sponsors. We don't have, fuck Patreon and that kind of crap. I like what I do because in essence, I can do it my way. And like I've always told Trevor, if tomorrow I'm done with it and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to move on to something completely different or I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing anymore. I can go in and delete and pull the plug on everything and it's gone. And it doesn't bother me. I don't think other people are like that. There's some kind of strange thing there. But I like doing it. I like educating people. I like interacting with people. I like sharing the legends. I feel like there's not many people doing that. So I try not to knock people too much for doing, even when they're doing it wrong or they're doing kind of a crappy job of it, that I think that it would be better for us if they went away. But even if it's not good information, at least it's some information steering people somewhere. So that I would guess would be the better thing. And hey, everybody's got their thing. They got to do their thing. Okay, so I know where there's a pack of cigarettes that you hold the debit. Yeah, fuck you. Because you're Wayne Cuddle and they are not. There's no cuddle in here. Thank you for taking the time to do that. You guys are awesome. Come down to the American Legion, Post 9 in Florence, and I'll buy you a Coors Light and we can BS. Do they smoke inside the American Legion there? Do they still allow that? Because I know they're a private business, but have they gone woke and don't allow smoking no more? Appreciate that your honesty is not bought, monetized. It could be, but it would be for a lot of money, okay? Let's always make that point. If someone wants to send me $1 million check and have me promote their crap, wear their shirt, and wear a different hat that blazes their slogan, send me a weird amount of money, amazingly stupid amount of money. I will do it. I will sell out in a heartbeat for a period of time to do that. Nobody's offering that, so therefore it doesn't happen that way. Not any more smoke. I'll say, see, that sucks, man. You went to war. You should be able to smoke wherever the fuck you want. I'm sorry, folks. I dropped like 5 or 6 F-bombs today. You can tell. Sorry. Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. Everybody put your flags up, run them, fly them. Be proud to be an American. Be proud of people that, regardless of how you believe politically or whatnot, honor those people that kind of put their lives at stake to protect us, whether right, wrong, or in any way. When someone ever thinks they're doing something for the right reason, then, honor them for that. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. The pizza is too overwhelming. I cannot take it anymore. So therefore, I have to go. So thank you for joining us this week in Live Legends. Remember, I don't know. Should I even do that? I'm going to tell you you're not. Hi, it's Cuddles Tuttle. But
usually
do I do it? Okay. So therefore, I got to find my buttons though, because see, because we always have that weird false finish. Everybody remembers that. So now I'm it's not a really great finish because I'm groping around looking for it. But peace out. Okay, anyhow, there we are. Always remember, everybody take care. Hey, be kind to one another. Have a kind word for people. And most of all, remember, this is the most important thing of all. I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not. And this was Legends Live. Everyone have a wonderful, great week, Memorial Weekend. Until the next time. Okay, there's that.